This is Sudhakar here. So I have around 9 years of experience, and out of which 7 years purely into providing training to the MSBI tools like SSIS, SSRS, and SSCS, and SQL Server development. So this is about me. Currently, I'm working with United Health Group, so it's a health domain company. Apart from providing trainings also. So yeah, before starting the demo, so I just would like to know about your experience with SQL Server or any other technology you are working on, something like that.
Yes, basically I'm from the data warehousing and mostly my experience in the Cognos.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm basically from Cognos background, so that is I mean all of my experience. Tool wise, so I also almost have 9 to 10 years experience currently working in HP.
Okay, fine. So right, Dinesh, so anyway you have knowledge on data warehousing concept, so it would be easy for you to understand the MSBI tools. Fine, so let me go through what are the modules available in MSBI, like SSIS.
Before going that, what is the prerequisite to learn this MSBI?
Only SQL Server commands would be so that will be anyway easy for you because you are already working on Cognos. So anyway, in Cognos also you might be touching with the SQL Server commands, how to extract the data from database tables and all. So that would be pretty good.
Okay. Do we need to aware of? Do we need to aware of PLSQL and triggers?
No, not required because see, if your data source is Oracle database, so if you know how to extract the data from the database tables, that would be more than enough. So you no need to write PLSQL commands in to fetch the data and all. So you don't require PLSQL knowledge on this. Even though you don't have SQL commands also, we have GUI mode where we can simply drag and drop the tables and whatever fields you require to get the data. Yes, you can do that, and internally inbuilt SQL command will be generated. So that is also fine. But if you have the knowledge on SQL Server SQL statements, yes, that is more than enough for you.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the SQL Server.
SQL Server all that is more than enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so you are well versed with the data warehousing concept. Why we are going to create it? What is data warehouse and why we are going to create the data warehouse and all. So let me go through the modules which are available in MSBI and where exactly we are going to use those modules in data warehousing architecture point of view. Okay, so that is important for us. So where you are going to use SSIS and where exactly you are going to use SSRS and SSCS. Okay.
Okay.
So right. So let me remove this thing. It's not required for us. Okay. Anyway. Yes, in MSBI we have 3 modules. So first one is SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. First one is SSIS. Got it as SQL Server Integration Services. So we are going to create SSIS packages to extract the data from your database sources. Okay, so you might be in your company, you might be having different database sources like Oracle database, SQL Server database, DB2, Sybase, MS Access database. Okay, not only relational databases but also flat files. Might be your data is stored in Excel files or flat files like CSV files, .txt files, XML database, XML sources. So you have heterogeneous data sources. From all these sources, you want to extract the data and build an enterprise data warehouse. So for that reason, we are going to use SSIS packages. So the name itself says integration services. It is going to integrate the data from different data sources. So we call it as ETL simply. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. Okay. So I'm going to tell you at the time of data warehousing architecture. So extraction, transformation, loading. For this, we are going to use SSIS. And second module is SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. Okay, so simply I should say reporting services, SQL Server Reporting Services. So we are going to use SQL Server Reporting Services to generate reports, to build the reports. Because why we are going to use SSIS packages? We want to get the data from different database sources, and we are going to load the data into enterprise data warehouse. Later, what we are going to do, we will extract that data from the data warehouse database, and we are going to generate reports with the help of SSRS. So for that reason, we are going to use SSRS reporting services. Okay. So this is purely for reporting purpose. You will build reports here. Then SSAS, third module. So SQL Server Analysis Services. The name it says analysis. That means whatever data you are providing to the clients, they are going to do analysis, right? So they will take strategic decisions based upon the data which you have provided. So you are going to provide high-level information in terms of summarized reports to the clients. Based on that, they are going to take the decisions. They will understand their business. They will take steps to improvise their business in order to increase their profits. So that is what the main objective of creating the data warehouse database. So in analysis services, we are going to create OLAP cubes. Then we will provide clients a facility to do the ad hoc analysis, ad hoc reporting, data mining. So they will do all this analysis, data mining, and with the help of SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. So these are the main three modules which are available under MSBI. SQL Server Integration Services, SQL Server Reporting Services, and SQL Server Analysis Services. So we are going to see where exactly we are using this SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS in data warehousing architecture point of view. Okay. So any doubts so far?
Yeah, this is fine. Like each this one like module, right? SSIS. How many days class for SSIS?
It will be around 10 to 12 classes, something like that.
Okay. SSIS. IS.
But for SSRS also it would be 10 or 8 classes. More than might be 9 to 10. Around it's like more than 30 hours will be spent on completing this MSBI classes for SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS. Because I have to explain each and every point in IS, RS, and SSAS. So you are looking for daily classes or only weekend classes?
Daily classes.
Daily classes, right? So at what timing?
Timing morning will be preferred actually. So
mornings.
Yes.
Morning at what time?
Maybe 8 o'clock, something like 7:30 to 8 that time.
7:30 to okay, 8:15 or 8:30. Is it fine? 8:30, 7:30 to 8:30.
7:30 to 8:30. That will be fine.
Okay. So what's your location? Where are you staying now?
I'm in Chennai actually.
Okay, fine. Then no problem. Indian timings, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, we will do that. So no problem. So let me go ahead with data warehouse architecture part. Okay. Right. Remove this. Yes. We'll take some scenario, then we'll do that. Okay. So let us assume that in your company you have 4 different data sources. Okay. So as we already discussed, so let's say this is source space. So we have 4 different sources. Also, the first one is relational database like Oracle. Let's say Oracle. And we have another database where you are storing some information in SQL Server. So you have 2 relational database sources and 1 Excel source. Some data is stored in Excel files also, and some data is stored in flat files like txt files and .csv files. Okay. So these are all your sources. Now you want to build an enterprise data warehouse where you want to extract all the data from all these 4 data sources. So now what I'm going to do, I'll create one staging area. I'm going to extract data from Oracle database as well as SQL Server and Excel files and flat files. So I will call it as staging area. Okay. Let's keep it here. So in the staging database, what I will do, whatever data that is available in Oracle, so whatever data that is required for my analysis purpose or for my reporting purpose, I'm going to extract that data only with the help of SSIS packages. Here I'm going to use SSIS packages. So here we are going to perform ETL. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. So you're extracting the data from your database. You're extracting data from the SQL Server, Excel files, flat files. Okay. So if your data source is Oracle database or SQL Server database, something like relational database, so you're going to use SQL commands here. Okay. You're going to use SQL commands to retrieve that data using SSIS packages. Fine. So after extracting the data into the staging tables, you will try to do some kind of manipulations to the data. So you want to transform the data based upon the client requirement. So I'm going to use transformations here. Okay. So let us say, I can give you a simple example. For example, if you have some data in your location table, let us say your Oracle database is having some location table. This location table is having a field called location. Someone has entered data for this location, something like this, HYD. Instead of Hyderabad, he entered HYD. So in SQL Server also you have one more table called location. Same table is available in SQL Server also. Some information is stored in Oracle, some information is stored in SQL Server. Now, someone has entered it as Hyderabad. So, in Oracle, they entered it as HYD. In SQL Server, they entered it as Hyderabad. So, while loading the data into staging tables, you got both HYD and Hyderabad. Fine. But while loading the complete data, final data into your enterprise data warehouse database, I'm going to draw one more box here. So I will call it as enterprise data warehouse database. EDTMD, simply. This is your final database. So I'm going to load data from the staging area to your enterprise data warehouse. So by loading the data from staging area to enterprise data warehouse, you have to apply some transformations. So you have to apply some transformations because your location table is having different values. There is no consistency. Data is not in a consistent position. Someone has entered it, someone has entered it as Hyderabad. So tomorrow, if I do reporting, so if I want to group by the data based upon the location, so what will happen? it is going to be treated as a separate value. So let us say it will show you some $10,000, and this value is treated as a different value, and it is showing $20,000. So it is going to give you incorrect information. So instead of showing both values sum together 30,000, it is going to show you different values because you entered it as a different value here. So data is not in a consistent position. So I want to make it consistent. So I want to maintain the consistency in the data. So I'm going to use transformations here. So I will follow either HYD or Hyderabad, not both of the things. So I will make the data consistent with the help of transformations. And not only this example, sometimes you don't want to load all the data. So at the time of extracting the data from source to the staging area, I want to apply some filter. So I want to apply some condition. Based on that condition, I want to load only data that is might be salary greater than 5,000. So in such case, what I can do, I will apply filters with the help of transformations. Like that. Okay. So I'm going to use transformations for different purposes, for filtering the data, for making the data consistent, and I want to create a new columns. Let us say in your salary table, you have, let's say, salary and commission. So you do not have a new column called total salary, but your client is going to ask you total salary column in your destination table. This is your destination database, right? Enterprise data warehouse. So in your data warehouse database table, having a column called total salary, but it is not available in your source tables. So what you are going to do on the fly when you are loading the data, you are going to create this column. You are going to populate the data by adding both salary and commission. So you can create derived columns. We call it as derived columns or calculated fields. So all this kind of transformations can be done in SSIS packages at the time of loading the data. Okay, so that is the reason why we are going to use SSIS packages for extracting the data from sources, transforming the data as per the business logic, then loading the data into destination tables. Fine, we loaded the data. Now what happens? So we are done with SSIS packages. We successfully loaded the data into data warehouse database. Now I want to report this data to the clients. How I am going to do that? So I want to build some reports. Let me take this example. Yes. So I created 2 reports. Report 1 and report 2. So I created 2 reports by fetching the data from Enterprise Data Warehouse database. So here, how can I generate these reports? With the help of SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. So here, SSRS plays a major role. So again, I want to extract the data from my database, whether it could be SQL Server, whether it could be Oracle again. So you are going to use SQL reference. Okay, right. So I created the SSRS reports, fine. Then how about SSAS? We discussed about SQL Server analysis services also, right? Why analysis services come into the picture? We extracted the data successfully. We created the data warehouse database. We generated the reports. We give it to the clients. Fine. Then why analysis services also came into the picture? So here, if my client is asking me some typical questions like, what are the top 10 products which are performing well in a specific country like India, in Andhra Pradesh, in Hyderabad, for a specific product category for last 1 month? So the criteria is very huge. First of all, I should have all this summarized data, right? So let us assume that if you are talking about some retail client like Walmart, they have a huge retail outlets, right? So they have huge what we can say internet sales also they have. So they have huge business. Daily millions of transactions will be happening across the world. So in this millions of transactions, if you want to get the last 1 month sales report only for specifically India, that too in Andhra Pradesh, in Hyderabad, for a specific product, that to top 10 products, how much time it will take? If you want to prepare SQL query, how much time it will take? So you have to write a select query, you have to get the, you have to apply conditions, you have to get the group by conditions, then you have to get the top 10 products values, right? Sales. So it will be very difficult and it will take a lot of time also because SQL Server has to get the data from its production servers. Production servers always busy. So you have to get that data from billions of transactions, you have to aggregate it and you have to show the summary of the data. So within fraction of seconds, by simply dragging and dropping, if you want to see that kind of result sets, if you want to do that kind of ad hoc reporting, that kind of analytics on your data, then you should go for cubes, OLAP cubes. We call it as OLAP cubes. So if you want to build OLAP cube, online analytical processing cube, we call it as online analytical processing cube. Simply I will say OLAP cube. So with the help of SSAS, I will be able to create OLAP cube, right? So here SSAS come into picture. You will be able to create OLAP cubes with the help of SSAS. Now you can do ad hoc reporting or analysis with the help of OLAP cubes, or you can do your reporting also. So earlier you used to create 2 reports with the help of enterprise data warehouse, right? So now directly you can build these 2 reports by using OLAP cube also, like that. So here the database structure is different. Generally, when you talk about relational database, the database structure is for OLTP databases. We call it as OLTP, online transaction databases. This is Oracle SQL Server. This is purely for transactional purpose. That means whatever daily activities are there, daily transactions will be stored in this servers. We call it as OLTP. Okay. So the database structure is here RTBMS. Okay, relational database management system. But here in terms of OLAP cube, the database structure is MDDB, multi-dimensional database, because the data stored in the OLAP cube is always stored in the format of dimensions and facts. Probably you know that in Couse also you have this concept. So data will be stored in the terms of fact tables and dimension tables. So that will be helpful to retrieve the data in very fast manner while reporting the data, while doing the ad hoc queries, while doing the data mining and all. So directly you can build the reports from this OLAP cube. So this is what the data warehousing architecture will do. This is the way we are going to use SSRS packages, SSRS reports and SSAS. So here your data is stored in OLAP cube, so that if you want to retrieve the data, you have to use MDX queries here. MDX. Okay. So if your data is stored in SQL Server database, what you are going to do? You are using SQL Server queries. But here your data is stored in OLAP cube. This database format is different, multi-dimensional database. That's why you are going to use MDX expressions, multi-dimensional expressions. So at the time of SSAS, we are going to touch all these things. Clear?
This one, we have 2 areas, like EDW.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, how many, where will you be using the transaction basically? You'll be having different transaction stages, right? So which area we'll be using that?
Actually, that depends upon the project. Here, say in this example, if I say these two are my production databases, Oracle database and SQL Server. So never ever go and do the reporting directly by connecting to the production server. So because the burden will be huge on the production server. So that is the reason why what we are going to do. So simply we will read the data from Oracle database and SQL Server and Excel files and flat files. We keep all this data in the staging area. We will do whatever modifications are there, whatever transformations are required as per the business logic. So I will apply all those things in the staging area. Then I will load the whether summarized data or detailed data into this enterprise data warehouse. This will become my final database. So from here, I'm going to do the reporting part. So your reporting will be in a fast manner. So it will not take much time to write the queries or fetch the data. Whenever you run the report, SSRS report, it will not take much time. And you point out to the enterprise data warehouse. The staging depends. Sometimes staging may not be required in your case. In my current project, staging is not at all required for us for some reports. So directly I can point to the database, fetch the data directly from that Excel files or flat files or databases, and I can do the reporting. Directly I can go for SSRS reporting. But most of the cases staging is required. So that depends. That depends on the project. And again, after staging, it is not really mandatory that you should have the enterprise data warehouse database. Probably they might be creating, let me eliminate this thing. They might be creating data marts. We call it as data marts. So what I can say, data mart is nothing but a subset of data warehouse. Why I called subset? Let us assume that in your enterprise, you do not want the data for all the enterprise. You don't require analysis or ad hoc reporting or analytics on the entire data of your organization. So you are simply concentrating on only some departments, specific departments. I will say sales department, finance department, and HR. So whenever you are creating a data warehouse database for a specific department, then we call it as a data mart. Simply data mart. So this is for sales, and this is for, let's say, HR and finance. Because your higher level management people want to analyze the data that is related to only these departments. They are not concentrating on other areas. So they want reporting only for these particular departments. So then we call it as, we are going to create data marts. So it is not necessary that every time you are following the same structure. So again, if they want to combine all these data marts into again single data warehouse database, yes, that is also there. So it depends upon the project. They are going to change according to their requirement. If they do not want the enterprise data warehouse, they will cut it. Simply they will do reporting directly from the sales data mart, directly from the HR, directly from the finance. Okay. So this is what we call it as a bottom to top approach, Ralph Kimball approach. Earlier one, what I showed you, that is top to bottom. They'll get the data, they'll do staging, they will create enterprise data warehouse, then they will do reporting and analysis. That is in one approach. Okay. So most of the times they will go to data marts. Most of the times, but again that depends on the project. So they do not require the entire data warehouse projects, then they don't do that, because due to cost, efficiency, and manpower, they don't want to spend that much time, that much amount on the project. They'll simply go for the data marts. It is easier than building the entire data warehouse database, isn't it? It will not take that much time comparatively earlier approach. So this is how it happens in the real-time scenario.
Okay.
Any questions?
And how many transformation will be there?
Yeah, a lot of transformations are there, but that again, so it depends upon the business logic, what they are asking us. So earlier, we have already discussed, see, let us say, so we have different data sources like Oracle and SQL Server. So there, Excel files, flash is also involved in that. So data coming from the Excel is in some different format, and data coming from the relational databases like Oracle and SQL Server in different format. So whatever data, whether it is a date or whether it is a number, numeric value, whether it is a string, everything comes in a text format from the flash files. So what you have to do, you have to convert those data types. For that, again, I want to use some transformations for data conversions.
Like in Informatica or data stage will be having different stages, right?
Yeah.
Like sorting, all those. Like that, how many are there in the SSIS?
Yes, in SSIS, a lot of transformations are there, but we do not go with all the transformations because those are not required. So I'm going to show you one package so that you will understand that. Let me open one existing project. I can show you that. In SQL Server 22, SQL Server Data Tools, SSDT we call it as. So let's open that. In your project, are you using data stage for ETL purpose?
Yes, in our project we were using actually, but I was not involved much in it.
Okay. So MSBI, are you getting new project from MSBI or?
No, we are not getting, but I want to learn this one. I mean, I'm planning abroad actually. So.
Oh, okay, great. I think a lot of openings for MSBI in UK, and now Australia also seems to be very good for the MSBI. This time, US anyway always there, but UK huge openings.
Okay.
Yeah. So SSIS class 20. This is previous project, so I'm just opening that. Right. So a lot of packages I have created for the previous class. Let me open anything. So like that for SSRs also we will create project, then we design reports. For SSAS we create project, then create OLAP queues. So this is SSRS project. So here we have different packages. These are all packages. Like I opened one package called excel.data6. So here let me show you the toolbox. See, we have different tabs like control flow, data flow, parameters, event handlers, package explorer. The main tabs are control flow and data flow. So if I check the control flow, left side you can see the list of tasks. Those are all predefined tasks. So according to your requirement, you can use them. Each task is having some different functionality. So in ETL point of view, we are going to use only a few tasks, like very important ones. And if you do the data flow, so data flow is a one task available in control flow. In this data flow, we are going to do exact ETL jobs. Like we are going to extract the data from different sources, and we are transforming the data according to business logic, putting the data into destination tables. So actual ETL done in this particular task. This is data for task. See, we have different transformations. These are all transformations. Aggregate conditions like merge, join, multicast, sort, and other transformations. These are all transformations. And we have sources also. Under sources, we have different sources. File, Excel, database, OLEDB. and destinations also, where you want to load this data, from where you want to get the data, from there, and after doing the transformations, where you want to load this data. So this is all about data flow task. So data flow task again part of control flow. Here you have data flow task. Like that. You can double click on it. You will go into again data flow task only. Otherwise, you can come like this. So different tasks and are available based upon the requirement. We are going to use that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So right, if you are good with this, so please let them know, RVH people.